Believe it or not, I walked from almost all the way down at the bottom of the valley, and probably the last 40–50% of it was up the mountainside on a very steep trail. Whew, I am tired, but there's a lot to see up here, so come on and let's go visit Tipon. Once you get to the parking area, and that's how I suggest coming here, is in some kind of vehicle, especially a tour vehicle, because walking up like I did is brutal. Make no mistake, there's a lot of walking involved and climbing, but there are also lots of places to sit and relax. I don't know if I'm going to take you everywhere today, but I'm going to go most places. As you can see, I've just started and there's still a lot of climbing to go. Just up that little climb, you get your first glimpse of the terraces. It's been quite a while since I've been here, and it looks like they're doing some archaeological work up above. That's interesting, and it looks like they've uncovered some more walls up there. Actually, there's quite a bit of restoration work going on. I hope this stuff opens up, because there is an Inca road that goes down. It's not easy, it's steep, and no one takes it, but it was only open for about 2 months, just before the pandemic. Okay, I made it. Almost no climbing left. This is a spectacular place. If you climb the mountain up behind it, it's even more beautiful looking back down. And if you go all the way to the top of that peak on the little bit left of center, there are petroglyphs up there. There are easier ways to get up there. I've seen them from the planes when I've been on approach to the Cusco airport. But it's been a long, long time since I've walked up there. That is a tough hike. In fact, can you hear the jet taking off? Well, actually, it's on its climb over my left shoulder. All right, I'm gonna see how far this old Inca road goes. It's been closed for a very, very long time, but there's nothing here saying it's not open. It's just not been cared for very often. Not in the best of shape, but there's some really cool stuff up here, so I'm gonna make my way up. I'm only at about 3,450 meters or 11,300 feet. Whew, just a little bit higher than my apartment, but gosh, as much as I've been climbing today, I need to take lots of breaks. Keep in mind that I'm walking up a 500 to 600-year-old Inca road. I've been on the other side, probably halfway up the mountain, and there's a dirt road that goes quite a bit farther up that I didn't know existed, but it may not have the last time I was up there, but it's definitely there now, and I can see it going much, much higher because there are a lot of ruins on the other side of the mountain. Looking back and thinking that I climbed all the way up from down there, I'm impressed. Since I'm almost 67 years old, no matter how much walking I do at altitude, that's still a hike. There's actually quite a bit they've uncovered from the dirt and the trees over there. I knew some of it was there because I've been over there walking along some of the closer walls, but had no idea there was that much just a little way past. If you decide to come this way, At least there's a big resting area here. Covered, lots of shade, and nice mountain breeze blowing through. That helps a lot. I'm not quite ready for a break yet, but I might stop on the way back down. Don't think I have too much farther to go. To me, it's always interesting to think that I'm walking on roads that likely, the very least, was used by the Inca elite. But probably in places like this, sometimes by Inca emperors themselves, leaders of the biggest empire in all of the Americas. The views of the valley are just spectacular on a day like today. You can even see actually a lot of ruins that have been, I don't know if they were covered before, because I know there were a lot of trees down there on the bottom center, but most of that was just the one U-shaped structure just on the edge of the cliff. Well, I made it. There are some interesting buildings up here, some really interesting, well, some other stuff that I'll show you in a few moments that few people ever see. The Intihuatana sector is easily the most important part of this site, at least as far as religion was concerned. The water canal system up here is pretty extensive. Water was channeled through this religious sector, probably where it was, I don't know, this is probably not the best way to describe it, but where it was blessed, or at least thanks were given for it. And then it made its way down into the lower terraces below. It looks like, and it's hard for me to tell from here, but it looks like this was the bottom of a water drop. Water came from up above, hit the bottom, and then came out along the channel here. This particular spot is called the Intihuatana. I honestly have my doubts about whether it was a true Intihuatana similar to that at Machu Picchu or Pisac or the Rio Urubamba below Machu Picchu. But its relevance as being the highest point at this sector is probably a giveaway that it definitely had some religious significance of great importance, to be honest. Hope you can hear me well, because there's a plane that just passed overhead making his left-hand turn to head back to Lima, but I'm going to go ahead and talk over it. There are lots of buildings up here, small rooms, more water channels, even though it appears no channel took water toward the Intihuatana. That surprises me a bit. This is one of the most fascinating places in this whole site, and probably less than 1% of the people who visit here even know about it. There are channels that go underneath the stones. There's a fountain right here. Possibly this was a ceremonial bath, but that's kind of a guess based on other places I've been. The sad part about Tipon is that very little is actually known about it historically. I haven't seen a single person up here. It may supposed to be closed off, I don't know, but there's absolutely no one up here. Can you hear the parrots down there? Maybe the huge flock I saw earlier. This is the upper part of the water channel that goes into the Intihuatana sector. And this is where the channel comes from. It's kind of an optical illusion. It looks like the water has to slightly run uphill, but when you get down there, it actually is not. But it definitely comes from up the top of that little hill, and I'll take you and show you exactly where in a moment. I'm trying to keep my shadow out of this, but can you see the channel down at the bottom of the screen? That's where this particular channel goes straight down to the main terraces at Tipon. There's also a very large, extensive building just below me. It has some nice coursed stonework on the left side and some rough stuff on the right side. I don't know if that's reconstruction or how much of it was original. Some of it could have been done long after the Incas were gone and still be 400 years old. Could have been used just for an animal corral. These agave cactuses and their flowers that are blooming are just, to me, they've always been fascinating because they are so huge. They're a different kind of agave than you see in other places, both in the Cusco Valley and in the Urubamba Valley. From here, you can definitely see that the water channel is going downhill all the way. But from the other side, it sure does look like it's going uphill for a short distance. More steps to climb. Wow, make no mistake. I'm out of breath just on that little 15, 20 meter climb. And there's still more to go. Well, getting closer. I think I may have reached the high point here. Or at least the steepest part. I know the canal goes a little farther. I was wrong. There's still more to climb. Got to be getting close though. Years ago I wanted to climb up in the mountains off in the distance because just on the other side are a lot of ruins that you can see clearly on Google Earth. But I doubt I ever make that trip again or anymore. Interesting little L-shaped, I wouldn't call it a curve here, but L-shaped change of direction. I've got a lot more climbing than I thought. Can you see the trail going up that direction? It can't be much farther. I don't remember it even being this far. This trail that goes off to the left goes to another site nearby called Pucara that probably was an administrative and residential section related to Tipon. The channel still goes up, but you can tell it's rarely followed once you get past the trail to Pucara. I have a feeling I'm almost there, but the canal's still not in bad shape. You can see the trail sectors clearly here on both sides. And here we go, the end of the canal. This was the site of a spring that supplied most, if not all, of the water to both the religious sector and everything down below probably. There likely was something up here, some kind of building, probably for people to stay if the weather got bad when they were up here doing maintenance work on the canal. It's a little hazy, but it is an unbelievably beautiful cloudless afternoon right now. But I've still got to hike back down into the main site, show you some places there, and then hike down to the bottom of the valley. So I better get going. Hope you enjoyed this part so far. If you did, let me know in the comments. If you got any questions, comments, want to tell me how stupid I am for coming all the way up here, I'm open to anything, and I love to read what other people have to say about my little adventures. It may actually take me a little longer going back down than it did coming up because this is steep. There are places here where, honestly, it made me nervous coming up, thinking about going back down, and now I realize why. It is long and steep, and there's a lot of places to slip and fall and twist an ankle. Something I do not want to do up here. Okay, I made it down the part that scared me the most, but I've still got a lot to go and a lot that I need to go very slowly. Definitely not get overconfident. Very slowly, sometimes one step at a time. One foot, then the other foot. Oh, this makes me nervous. Here's a spot. Oh, I remember this. This was a bad spot. Hard to see where I was stepping. Fortunately, once I step, it's not steep. Slowly, slowly. Was it worth it? I don't have the best balance anymore, so that's another reason to go slow. I doubt you've noticed it before, but all along this, in fact, just about every bit of the brush along both sides is made up of two kinds of spine bushes that are just absolutely brutal. They will rip the skin right off of you if you scrape up against them. I think I mentioned this before, at least now, everything's downhill. Thank goodness. I am tired, but still have probably, I don't know, a couple of hours to go before this day's done and I'm back down on the bus going back to Cusco. Okay, the last ascent along the channel. This one doesn't thrill me a whole lot. It's steeper than I remembered. Well, it wasn't as bad as I thought, but it wasn't good either. There's not really a good place to show you here, but can you make out that this part of the channel is actually going across an aqueduct? It has to cross a slight depression, and there's probably, well, that's really hard for me to see here, maybe 3.5 meters deep and 2.5 meters across. Definitely the Incas had to build an aqueduct so the water didn't have to go uphill. Doubt you could make it out unless you're looking at a very big screen TV, but there is a trail that goes all the way up to the Cruz Moco site, the stone outcrop up on the top left-hand side where I told you the petroglyphs could be found. My first good view of Tipon on the way back down. Can you see the archaeological work being undertaken on the left? I know I mentioned this before, but it's still just something about this, knowing that I'm walking down a 500-600-year-old Inca road that is basically in exactly the same shape it was in many centuries ago. I'm taking a different path now. I just passed the point where I came up on another trail, or the other trail originally. Now I'm taking a more direct path down to Tipon. I don't remember this. This is unique. I'm assuming this caution tape is to keep people from going off into the work that the archaeologists are doing, which is very close. A feeling I can't go much farther down here. I may have to go back because there was a side trail going off to the side. Then again, maybe I can. It's like steps. Yep. It's a pretty major doorway going through here. Obviously of some significance. I'm afraid if I follow the side of this wall that I won't be able to go much farther. Okay, since I'm already here, I'm going to follow the wall a little ways. There might be a couple of things that I want to show you down here, if there's not a way to go down. Here's one of them. Remember I showed you where the water channel broke off and brought water down into Tipon directly? This is where it came from. And of course, since there's no water coming out of the spring for a long time, this is bone dry. It can go down. There are two more water channels coming down. They brought water from up above. And this is Tipon from above. I'm surprised hardly anyone's here this afternoon. It's an absolutely fantastic day. I don't see a single cloud in any direction. Almost no visitors as well. I'll go down and show you the fountains in a moment, but I think I mentioned before, instead of using spring water, it's just tap water coming from city water pipes. It's pumped up here. The pipes are just a little bit behind me. There's all kinds of stories about how the water comes down, splits into two channels, first in one channel, then in two, and then just below me here into three channels. Whoops, I lied. It actually breaks off into four channels. If you want to climb up and walk through those buildings, don't get too impressed. I've been up there and all they are is square rooms with some windows and some niches inside. This is all that most people see. And while still impressive, I hope you know now that there's an awful lot more than that. The hydrology of this place is pretty special. Lots of water channels, lots of fountains, lots of underground channels. And I would bet that probably all of this was built just for show, not for crops. Lots of so-called amateur experts think that Incas predominantly were most interested in the sun. But the truth is, it's not even close. Every single important Inca site had a relationship, and a strong relationship, with water. Because without the sun for a while, in the rainy season, they're okay. Without water for long, they die. And you better believe they knew that very well. Here's an interesting stone I've never seen before. See the little hole and the two channels coming off of it? I wonder what that meant. So why did the Incas build all of this and not grow crops here? Because, well, they had tons of places below to grow crops. This whole valley was extremely fertile. But by showing that they were able to not really control the mountain and the water and the valley, but to show that all of the gods, including the living mountains, the living stones, the living water, all were willing to work with them to construct a place like this, was what was most important. It was kind of like, I don't know how a good way to put it, but it was basically showing that the gods were on their side. And I think, honestly, they had a deep, deep respect for natural beauty. Well, my battery's almost dead, and my internal battery is just about dead, so I hope you enjoyed this little adventure today. If you did, consider liking the video, maybe subscribing to the channel. I'm going to do a lot more of these now that I think we finally hit the good weather season. If you have any questions, any comments, anything you want to say about this, let me know. This is not a one-time little adventure for me. Pretty much everywhere I go, I've been a few times before, and I've done quite a bit of studying and research as well. So I don't make all these things up off the top of my head. Anyway, thanks again for coming along with me. Hope to see you in the next one, and take care. Ciao. Just a little note at the end. The trail down is actually worse than it looks. I am not looking forward to this, but got to get home.